Hey everyone, it's Lewis here, and I'm back with another versus battle. And in today's fight we have MechaGodzilla versus Ghidorah from the Monsterverse. That's right, the most powerful villains in the verse are going head to head today. Starting things off with MechaGodzilla, and I was truly taken aback with just how strong this dude is, and he showed quite a lot of potential within the film. Easily able to handle the respective kaiju in 1v1s, and taking their combined attacks. It's stated on two separate occasions that MechaGodzilla was blatantly superior in stats to Godzilla during this battle, and although Godzilla was confirmed to be fatigued at this time, due to his 3 battles against Kong, he was still at a power level which allowed him to charge Kong's axe, which is something he replicated when he was closer to his base power level, so it's still impressive regardless. It's also stated that MechaGodzilla is superior to every biological titan in the verse, and is, quote, the predator of the apex predators. And for context, Godzilla and Kong were already stated to be above all other kaiju at the point of Godzilla vs Kong, and superior to the titans, potentially scaling MechaGodzilla above all other titans as well. They include Muto Prime, who is able to fight a non-fatigued Godzilla, who could also manipulate tectonic plates, potentially damage them, and also have the potential to cause a global extinction event. And we know this isn't an outlier either, since MechaGodzilla himself was stated to be a global threat himself on 2 occasions, potentially making him planetary, given the scaling with Godzilla, and scaling far above other characters who should be at least multi-continental level. However, in the other corner we have the GOAT himself, Ghidorah, and this man is no joke either in terms of power, as it was stated that Kong, during the events of Godzilla vs Kong, was inferior in stats to Ghidorah, and you gotta keep in mind, this was the same Kong that survived 3 encounters with a peak Godzilla, could injure him to an extent, and, was able to take plenty of attacks from him, although granted the final encounter did nearly kill Kong. And it was also the same Kong who was stated to be above all other titans and the only one capable of matching Godzilla himself. And because of this, this would likely exclude Ghidorah from this list of, titans, as he was believed to be dead during this time, and this would therefore scale Ghidorah as well above all other titans as well, which is impressive scaling, as, there are titans like Scylla and Muto Prime who have calcs for multi-continental attacks. And to be fair, this wouldn't be too surprising given his King Ghidorah status in the film King of the Monsters. And Ghidorah's passive storms were stated to be capable of reducing the Earth back to its bedrock bones, which is insanely impressive, as Muto Prime, who has multi-continental, power, who we've already discussed, wasn't capable of spawning earthquakes with her raw power. She had to do it by targeting the fault lines, which is incredibly impressive and further scales Ghidorah above Muto Prime. To add consistency to this, the storms that Ghidorah were capable of spawning in were potentially going to terraform or reshape the Earth, which is incredible scaling. Ghidorah is also capable of tearing apart the stratosphere with its power, which is something that major meteor impacts are incapable of doing, which is extremely impressive. Ghidorah was capable of surviving not 1 but 2 nuclear thermo pulses from Godzilla in his thermonuclear form, and there have been 2 calculations which puts these blasts anywhere between moon level and planetary. Shout out to Mr. Versus for the calcs. It's also important to note that Ghidorah does have a healing factor, whereas MechaGodzilla doesn't, although in fairness, his healing factor isn't indestructible, as it can and did indeed get overtaxed against the military and supercharged Godzilla. But it's still pretty impressive, I guess. So who wins this fight, guys? Well, it's pretty obvious regardless who you're supporting, that these guys are the top tier titans stroke villains and wouldn't go down easily. However, in this fight, I'd have to give the edge to Ghidorah. Keep in mind that Kong and a weakened Godzilla could bring down MechaGodzilla when working together, and even in 1v1 fights, they could still take a beating from Mecha before going down. Hell, even weakened Godzilla took beatings from everything the machine could throw his way, ranging from the proton screams and missiles to melee combat. Keep in mind, however, that Ghidorah in his fight against peak power Godzilla or base Godzilla I guess, were disadvantaged, as he was handicapped, yet he still performed well and could hold his own. I mean, in the Antarctica battle, he literally woke up from a coma and was forced to immediately fight Godzilla. Despite this, however, he still did remarkably well against his rival, and in the final battle, he was able to hold his own against a supercharged Godzilla, and even overpowered him once he himself became supercharged. Compare this to MechaGodzilla, who overpowered and nerfed Godzilla, yes, but he was still matched by him and Kong. And speaking of Kong, the Titan was stated to be unable to stop Ghidorah, and it required base Godzilla to stop Ghidorah. Well, I guess supercharged Godzilla technically. Whereas even without the supercharged axe, Kong could still match MechaGodzilla to an extent, and once he did have the axe, well, MechaGodzilla was scrap metal very quickly. The final nailing MechaGodzilla's coffin, however, is how they were defeated. Mecha was defeated after a weakened Godzilla charged Kong's axe, which Kong then used to destroy the machine. Ghidorah, on the other hand, survived a firmer pulse from the strongest version of Godzilla in the Monsterverse, and he wasn't even killed by a second pulse. He was just believed to be dead until the events of Godzilla vs. Kong. It might take a while, but I do see Ghidorah winning this one. King Ghidorah wins.